Hello friends, welcome to part 1 tutorial of CSS. In this tutorial, I will cover you all the basics of what CSS is, how it works, whether you are a junior or a student or somebody who is want to learn CSS to use in their projects. This is the video for you. I will try to make it very simple for you to understand how CSS works. So let's begin the video with understanding of CSS first. In the last video series that I have covered about HTML. If you haven't watched, you can go and watch that video series in HTML. So HTML was, as you know, is used to create a web page. Now that web page has basically a structure. Structure means what? Like you create a body tag, you create heading tags, you create a paragraph, you create list, you create table and blah blah, right? So you basically create a lot of things in HTML. Now those things are basically structural. Structural means you are just defining the structure of your web page, but you using CSS, what you can do, you can create a style. You can create a style for that structural element. For example, suppose we have an h1 tag in HTML that says welcome to my website. Now that is h1 tag, heading 1. Now that doesn't have any color, right? That doesn't have any background color, any color or any other style associated with that. But using CSS, we can create a style of that h1 tag. How? I will let you know in this video very soon, but just to understand, we can change the color of h1 tag. Now we have a picture created using HTML. Now I want to give a border or give a shadow around that picture. How can we do that? We can do that using CSS. Now let me explain you with one more example. If you see here, you have two pictures. One is uh, again you're building your home that you are building. This is a structural layer, right? You structured the home that you would have one bathroom, you would have two bedrooms, you would have one hall, one kitchen, like that. But after the structure is created, you need to design those rooms according to your choice, like color, paint, and so many things like that comes into picture. So these are like two examples, like to for you to understand what is CSS. In a summary, CSS is basically used to style the HTML elements. I hope this is clear to you guys. Even if it is not, do write in comments. I will try to explain with another example. So now how to study CSS? To study CSS, we have different resources, right? From I can create my own PPT or PDF for you guys to understand. But my intention was to give you the best, and to be very frank, I can say the best resource you guys can have for learning CSS is still earlier also and still today is w3schools.com, right? So this website, it's been more than 20 years they have been working on HTML, CSS and a lot of tutorials, but still this is the best tutorial I found for the beginners. If you are a beginner, go for it. Now what I will do, I will follow the same. I will teach you CSS based on what w3school.com offers. So I will go through each and everything on that website, and then I will teach you what are those things. So this way you will be able to refer the best material out there, and in my way you will learn. So if you like my way of teaching, then do like my video. This will inspire me to make more contents, advanced contents on JavaScript or Angular or so many new technologies, DevOps and all. So guys, if you really like the way, I request you again to like the video, subscribe my channel. So now let's start with the tutorial. So you have to go to w3school.com website and you have to click on CSS, right? Now if you see here on the left side you can see CSS tutorial, and it has a lot of things here covered here. And next thing is CSS advanced. Now and then we have CSS responsive, we have CSS grid, we have CSS sass, blah blah, and some examples out there. So in my tutorial series, what I will do, I will cover your CSS tutorial, then advanced and responsive thing, and the grid thing, and the sass. That's it. So after examples, you guys can go ahead and check out. And yeah, let's start with the. So today in this first video, I will cover this CSS tutorial basics. So let's start with the CSS Home. Okay, so you have the basic idea of what CSS is. So let me cover you few things. CS is a language. Okay, so it's a language. Now what this language do? It style HTML. That's it. Okay, next thing, it tells again how the element, the HTML elements should be displayed. Should it be colored? Should it have a background thing? Something like that. So okay, so this is first example you can see here. Now here the body tag. So basically HTML have a lot of tags. Now if we want to style those tags, we need to use CSS. So how it works, we will put the CSS element, element name like body, and we will start with a bracket, we will close the bracket. Inside this bracket we will write the style. Okay, again we have, in the same way we have h1 tag. How we want to style that? We want to style using these two things like color and text align. I will cover that. And again with the same thing, p tag. So if we click on try it yourself, you can see this page. Now again, very important, I'm not going to cover any editor for you, because you guys have editor like VS Code, or you can even start with the notepad. So that depends on your preference, but w3school.com already have given a very nice online editor. It's easy to for me to explain as well, so I will use this. So here if you see, this is the right side, we have a page, and on the left side we have HTML CSS code. So if you see, you are already familiar with this body h1p. So in body, what we want to change the background color to be blue. So I will write in style. I will tell you later on why we are using inside head. Okay, so for now just understand, we have body tag, and in body tag what we want the background color to change to light blue. Okay, so now see if it's a background color becomes blue. If I say gold, one of my favorite color, so now see, if you click on run, it changes to gold. If I say a red one, red, and if I say blue, the weird color, if you see here in the web page, let's see, it's a blue. Okay, so okay, so yeah, so using this background color, we are just changing the background color of the page. H1 tag, how it should be displayed? It should be white color, and it should be in center. So if you see, we are instructing the browser how to style it. And again with the p tag, we are saying okay, change the font family to Verdana and the font size to 20. If I make it 200, I don't know if it will fit, but yeah. Yeah, so this is 200 pixel font size. Okay, make it 20 again. So this is the first example. Through this example, I hope you understand how we can style an HTML page. Okay, let's close this and let's move to another. So introduction is clear to you guys. You guys can go to this website and read it. I hope if you read it now, it will be clear to you. So now why we use CSS? Okay, let's understand with an example. Suppose you have a website, you created it using HTML. Now that website has hundreds of pages. Okay, in hundreds of pages, if you want to change something, some style, if you want to give a style, then what you can do, you have three options actually to insert a style. One thing is inline style. In inline style, what happens, inside the tag, inside the element, you just put style equal to background color red. Suppose you created the same style in 100 of pages. Okay, now in 100 of those pages, the color of the background or the font color is red now, right? Now if your boss comes and say, hey Rakesh, why I don't like this red color, do one thing, change the color to gold, yellow, white. Now what you will do as a developer, what I will do, I will go in each and every file and I will change the color from red to gold or whatever in all the pages. That's not a good practice. So to overcome this, we have the other option, external style sheet, where we will put we will give us class name or an ID selector that I will teach you very soon. So that way, changing it in only one place will reflect in all the 100 pages. Okay. So this is one demo now that the website is providing. If you see here, the website is looking very cool. Okay, why? Because we have implemented one style set. We have added one style set to this particular home page. And this is the currently style set 1 applied. If I click on style set 2, see the design, look and feel completely changes. Okay, why? Because we have used style sheet 2, the other style sheet. We can click on 3. This is another way to display the page. We can click on 4. Now this is a dark theme and no style sheet. So without style sheet, you can see this is pure HTML. So you can see how it looks without style. So I hope we will learn about these things very soon. So why CSS? You already know, to design the layout of our pages. Okay, this example already I have cleared you. So it solves a big problem. Yeah, I already told you. 100 pages. You need to change all 100 pages. Just change in one place regarding the style. So it saves a lot of work. Correct. So if I go to syntax, now this is very important for you guys. Okay, so whenever you have to write CSS, you have 2 3 things here. Like if you see here h1, now you will start with h1 just like you see below p tag. Okay, so this p tag is basically a selector, and here we have selector h1. Now in brackets we have 2 things. Okay, we have declaration, so we can have multiple declarations. Inside declaration we have 2 things, property and value. It's a key value pair, right? So we have color, and I mean color, the color should be blue, so it's a property color, and the what's the value you want blue. So h1 tag, wherever is h1 in your HTML, the color will become blue and the font size will become 12 pixel. Right, I hope this is clear. So if you see here p tag, the color should be red, it should be center text align. Click here, see, red text center aligned. Okay, so go to the next one, CSS selectors. Now selectors, what is a selector basically? Now through CSS, whatever element you want to select, you can use CSS selector. Okay, To select something in your HTML page, we use selector. Select is used to find some element. For example, here P is a selector. Okay. Now P tag, if we are putting P here, then it's a selector. So it is telling the browser that for all the P tags used in that page, change the text color to red and text line center. So this is called selector. So what is this? It selects HTML element. Okay. Now CSS ID selector. Now we can select an element by different ways. We can select all the P tags with that just saying P. Now this P will say, tell the browser to select all the P tags. But if I want a specific P, I mean P means paragraph tag. If I want a specific paragraph tag, then what I will do, I will create a ID. ID starts with hash. So here, if you see hash para. So wherever this para1 ID will be applied, that becomes a red colored and text line center. Let's say, if you see, we have two paragraphs out here. One paragraph have the ID para1 and second doesn't have. So this para1 ID selector will only be applied to the first paragraph, and it becomes centered aligned and red colored. Okay. And remember, we have one ID in our HTML page. Okay. Okay, let's close it. We will go to how to. Now, as I told you a little bit, we can add CSS in three ways. One is external, that you should use. Second is internal, that you should know. And sometimes you can use. And inline is something you should know but never use. So external CSS is something, all the styles you have put it in another file, and you call it in your HTML web page. Okay. And how we do that? We do that using a link tag. Between your HTML tags, you have to use link or rel. Rel is your relation style sheet. So what you are linking from to your web page, you are linking a style sheet. And what's the name of that style sheet? It's a mystyle.css. Okay. So this way, all whatever the style you have applied in that file will be applied in this HTML page. Okay. So if you see here example, they have created mystyle.css, and they have pod background color light blue, and they have h1 color navy, margin left, like that. So that's an example of your external CSS. Internal, you have to style inside that HTML page. So if you see here, between head tag, you have this style tag. It tells us that okay, change the body background linen, and same with h1, something like that. So this is what, like, if you are inserting it inside the HTML page on a separate place, it's called internal style sheet. And inline is something you should never use. You can use it for some testing part, but yeah. So see here, we are directly inserting the style into the h1 tag. Okay. So this is called inline CSS. So these are the three ways, very important for you, for interview purpose or learning purpose, to understand CSS, how to use CSS in your web page. Comments are pretty simple. You don't want something to appear on your web page, that's a comment. So how to use that comment, how to add that comment? uh, you just have to use /star, and you can close it, */ this becomes what? Comment. Very simple, pretty simple. You can go to this page, you can read it, it's very pretty simple. So I will not go in depth. So the comments are clear, right? Next we will go to colors. Now using CSS, you can give colors to any element, or you can give the background color also, right? So these are the few colors you can try out. Tomato, orange, blah blah. Let's try it something. See, we have given the style background color to tomato, orange, like that. Now every h1 tag has have different uh, different background colors. Yeah. Okay, let me close this. So this is the background color. To give the background color, you what you will use? You will use background dash color colon dodger blue, like that. The text color is pretty simple. You have to use only color and give the value. Border color, again, you can use border. Now how many pixel border, whether it should be solid or it should be dashed or it should be dotted, you can mention. And the color, so this becomes your border color. Okay. Now CSS color values I will explain later on it, or just right now. The colors could be given in three formats. If you see here, RGB, that's red, green, blue. Hexadecimal codes are there, and HSL, hue, saturation, light. Okay. So if you see here, in RGB we are passing three things: red, green, blue. This is hexadecimal code, and this is HSL. Okay. Okay. So these are the different ways how we can color any element. So if you go to RGB, if you see here, RGB, red, green, blue, it's a combination of red, green, blue. It's see, if I'm changing red, the maximum value is 255. It's and it starts with 0. Same if I put all the colors to 255, 255, then it becomes white, and if I make it to 0, it becomes black. See. Okay, so this is how it works. In hexadecimal codes, basically you have three colors, but in you will put RRGGBB. Okay, so the first two characters represent red, second one green, third one blue. So this one white, this one, sorry, this one is black, and this one is white. So same way you can change it like this. See, D7, 76, and 9F. Okay, so this is how it works. And the third one is your HSL, that's hue, saturation, and lightness. So if you the first hue is in values, and the other two, saturation and lightness, are in percentage. So you have to change it. You can have a color, and then you can just copy. You can write, you can put HSL. First value is hue, second one is saturation, third one is lightness. Okay, I hope this is clear. CSS background. Now background plays a very important role. Suppose you have a website, you have a first page, and instead of color you want to have some picture. Okay, it is very simple to put it in CSS. So we have different key values, you can say properties in CSS for the background. We can have background color, we can have background image, background repeat. Background repeat is like if you have a smaller picture, what you want, like after like see background image is implemented, if you're left with couple of spaces or a large space, that image should be repeated or not. Suppose you want one tile image to be repeated across the whole page, you can use background repeat to true, right? Now we have background attachment, we have background position, and the very shorthand property, you can implement all these things using only background. So let's cover few examples, it's very important. So body background light blue we already used. Now if you see background colors we have given for different elements. So this is, I hope, clear. Okay, background image, if you want to give, say, this is the paper dot gif is an image, and in the whole body you want that image to be displayed. So what you will do, background image URL means where is the file, and the file is called paper.gif. So it will display that image in the background of the page. Next is your, okay, now this is done. And again we can have I think this is the same example. We will go to the next one. If you want to repeat, just see the images are being repeated here. Okay, So background image, so this is the background image that is being repeated here. Okay, if you want that image to be repeated on suppose you have a front one image or vertical image of 1 or 2 pixels, but you want that image to be repeated across the x-axis, right? So you will say background repeat x. So in x-axis the background will be repeated. Background attachment, if you want whether the background should be fixed or it should be scrollable. When you scroll the web page like this, whether you want that background to be fixed or you want it to be scrollable. So if you want it fixed, let's see the image is fixed, this is the background color, it's bang, basically we are scrolling and that image is fixed. Clear? Okay. So and now everything you have used, you can put it in one background property. See, the first one is the color, second one is the background image, whether you want to repeat, what is the position of that image. So all things come into one place. So this is shorthand. This is very useful. Next one is border. Very simple. You have an element, you want a border around that, put it. How to put that? And the borders can have different styles. Okay, it could have dotted, dashed, solid, and others. You can check it out. Now, how to put that? Now, see, last example, I told you about the ID selector. There is one more selector called class selector. Now, the class selector can be used using dot operator, like p dot dotted. Now, dotted is what? Dotted is a class. P dot dashed, dashed is a class. P dot solid, solid is a class. If I use hash, that becomes an ID selector. So if you see at the bottom, we have used dotted. For dotted, we will use border style dotted, and for the solid, we will use solid. And others are there also. You can check it out and see the difference, how it looks, how it can change the look of your website. Again, border width is clear to you, I hope, and the border color is also clear. Border sides. Now, individual sides, okay. Now, borders are basically the covered area around that element. Now, it has top, bottom, right, left. Okay. So, if you want to design differently on all the borders, you can use like border top style for the top part, border right style for the right side. So, if you see here, on the top one, we have dotted, and on the right side, we have solid. Do try, check it out. In case any issue, you can always go to the comment section, ask me if you are stuck in anything. And the next one is border shorthand. Again, border, this is a shorthand. You can put the width, you can tell it's a solid or dotted, you can also tell the color. Okay. And rounded borders are very famous these days. Now, to if you want a rounded corner, it's very simple. You just have to put the border radius. Okay, try it. Increase the border radius to from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and you will see more sharper edges. Okay. Next one is CSS margins. Now, margins are very, very important. Okay. Now, I would say, let's cover this. Now, suppose we have an element. This element has margin of 70. Now, margin, what is margin basically? Suppose you have a body tag. That's the main page. Now, inside that body tag, we have one H1 tag. Now, normally H1 tag sticks to the top of the web page. But if you want some gap, from the top, from the left, then what you need to do, you need to give the margin. Now margin, let's see, I have given margin 70 pixel after for the this particular div. Okay. Now if I give it to let's make it 200, what it will do, it will move from here till here. Let's see. Okay, it goes well beyond. Okay, I make it 2000, sorry. So let's okay, 200. If I make it 20, it will come close to this h2 tag. So basically, if you want to have some margin, means margin difference, okay, some pixels difference, then you can use margin. I hope this is clear. Okay, margin collapse. So basically, if you see here, margin can be given in the top, left, right, or bottom. So sometimes two margins collapse into a single margin. Okay, top and so basically, like if you see here, how margin collapse. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are four values. The first one is top, second one is right, third one is bottom, and the fourth one is left side. So if you see here, in this example, h1 element has a bottom margin of 50. Now h1 after h1 tag, okay, we are giving a 50 pixel margin, and the h2 tag that we have used next to it have margin of 20 pixel on the top. See here 20, and this is in the bottom. So if we see the difference, it should have been like, it should have been 70 pixel, 50 plus 20. However, due to margin collapse, the actual margin is 50. So basically, uh, normally, according to concept, it should be, 50 plus 20. But because of the margin, this is called margin collapse. So in margin collapse, basically, both the margins collapse, and the bigger one takes the more the exact space. So that ends with the 50 pixel. Okay. Okay, next is padding. So if you see, margin, through margin we have given some space from the first element to the second element. But if we have the second element and that second element needs to have some spaces, we can also give it using padding. So if I give padding, so it will work the same way, but there is a difference: padding versus margin. Between padding and margin there comes a border. Okay, so if you see in the picture, this space is coming inside, between the border and the element. So again, same like margin, we can have padding top, right, bottom, left. Go to this page, study it, try some examples. It's very easy. See here, so we have given padding 25, 50, 75, 100, right? And if you see, it's the order is top, right, bottom, and left. Next one is CSS height and width. Okay, so if I give you an example, the height and width can be set to any element. If you go to this example, we have a div, we have set the height to 50 pixel. If I change it to suppose 150 pixel, you can see the height becomes 150 pixel, width is 100%, and the border is this one. Okay, so this is clear. So this is height and width. Auto is very important. If you set it to auto, it will automatically take based on the browser. Browser calculates automatically. It could be given in percentage, length, pixel wise, everything. Okay. Now we can also set the max width and max height of any element. So for that we can use a property max width, max height, like that. So if you see here in this example, the maximum width allowed is 500. Okay. So if I increase it, it will only take maximum of 500. Okay, so the next one, very very important, one of the most important, but very easy to understand. So this is your content. Content means your element. Now that element has a border, default border. Between the border and content, if you want to give some space, you have to use padding. And after the border, if you want to give some space, you have to use margin. So this is very simple and very simple to understand, but if you don't know, it's very confusing, right? So this is content, then give some padding. The padding will be some spaces between the content and the border, and the margin will have some spaces outside the border. I hope this is clear. Try some examples. It will clear your doubt. Okay, next one is outline. Okay, so outline is basically a line outside that element's border. So you have an element, You have a border. Outside that border, there is a line that's called CSS outline. So see, it's content, border, outline. Now that outline, you can give some styles to that outline. You can also change the color of that outline. So these are some of the properties. Okay, so if you see here, the outline we are changing here using outline style dotted, solid, groove, ridge, like that. I hope this is clear. Again, the width is clear to you, 1 pixel, 2 pixel, and the color you can give same way, outline, shorthand. Yeah, so if you want some shorthand, you can go give like outline. It should be thick, it should be red, it should have a pink color, something like that. Okay. Now another interesting topic is CSS text. So basically you will play around text in HTML. So you have lots of text. Now you need to format those text. The text formatting can be done. You can change the color. I already told you, see the color blue, color green, and you can change the background color. This is also clear to you guys. Next one is text alignment. Now when you put some text in the browser, it could be on left, right, or center. To align that, you can use a property text align. Okay, text align center or text align left or right. I hope this is clear. Very pretty simple, right? Text decoration. Now text decoration basically means, suppose you have a tag, a tag, it's for hyper links. Okay, links between two pages. Now that, suppose you have a tag, a tag, you don't want underline, you just want it to be sit like a normal text, but it should be a clickable link. So what you can do, you can say to the browser, hey, for this a tag, just I don't want any text decoration. So if I show you the example, so this is an typical link. Click here, the website opens here. Okay, clear. But if I don't put, I delete this one, suppose, and I run it and see, it becomes a link with a underline. Okay, so this is what text decoration none means. Okay, you can have a text decoration overline, line through, underline, like that. Then we have text transform. Now through transform, we can make any text uppercase, lowercase, or capitalize. Okay, check it out. So this is uppercase, this is lowercase, this is capitalized. Okay, in capitalized, you can see all the words have first letter capital. Let's close this. Text spacing. Now text spacing basically, if you want to give some spaces, then we can have text indent property. Let's here it's given 50 pixels. So see here in the start you have 50 pixel gap. Okay, again letter spacing, you are writing something, the space between the letters, you can give letter spacing. Okay, line height, you can give, suppose you have a line content, you want to give the height of that element, you can use line height. Okay, and word spacing, same way like the letter spacing, we have word spacing. Between the words you can put some spaces, like see, in the second example you see we have 10 pixel space here between the words. Okay, so based on your requirement, you can use these properties in your website or your web page. White spaces, if you want, like how it should have your element, how your element should handle white spaces. So it is saying no wrap. Okay, so let's see, it doesn't want it to be wrapped. So if you put lot of lines inside the p tag, and see, it is not wrapping, right? Okay, so no wrap, it will take you to the end. Okay, so this is one. Now text shadow is basically being used nowadays a lot to make your website fancy, to make headings fancy. Now if you see, this is again one h1 tag, but the text shadow is 2 pixel. Now see the difference. Now it is giving this effect, very nice effect, I would say. You can also use color. Now this becomes more better, I would say. uh, but if you put it more like 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 5 pixel, now this is getting better. Okay. So this way basically you can use text shadow to any element. Okay, try it with some of the more examples, and you can find very nice CSS that makes your element look very, very good for your website. Okay, so next one is our CSS font. Fonts are very important for a web page. Like Google have their own font they use, Facebook they use their own font, every website use their own font. So what font is good for you, that you need to decide, or right? So there are a couple of fonts that we can use in our website. We have some sans serif type of fonts, we have serif fonts. Now the difference is between the serif and sans serif. If you see, serif have some curves on the tips of the font, so this becomes serif. So serif is this one. Now serif examples are Times New Roman, Georgia, Garamond, and sans serifs are Arial, Verdana, Helvetica. So basically, you can use for the websites mostly sans serifs are being used, like Arial, Verdana, Helvetica. Google have Roboto font, and Facebook have different fonts they use. So these are some of the fonts. Like you created a page, you have given h1 tag, you want the style font family to be changed, you can change it using font family property. The values could be, Times New Roman, Times Serif. So if your browser supports Times New Roman, it will apply Times New Roman. If it doesn't, it will go to Times. It doesn't, it will go to Serif, something like that. So there are some couple of web safe fonts. Mostly they are used in the websites. So these are the Moha, Vardhanas, and Serif, like that. Okay, and so these are the examples. You can check it out in the website. Arial, Vardhana, Helvetica, Moha, right? Uh, Font fallback. I told you, if the first one doesn't work, you will go to the second one. If second one doesn't work, you will go to the third one. Okay, so this is called fallback of fonts. Font style, if you want a normal font, if you want an italic font, you want an oblique font, you can do that. So these are the examples. You can always click here and go to and understand. Any issue, you can go to comments and ask me. Font weight, whether you want the font to be bold, more bold, normal, right? So this is what, like font bold, you want font weight, you want to make it bold. Font variant, again, you want it normal or small. Okay. Font size, you can put, font size is again very important topic. So you can give the font size to be specific to this h1 tag, 40 pixel, h2 to be 30 pixel, and p to be 14 pixel, like that. Now we have come across EM font size also. So what is EM? Basically, you have used, or you will see it. EM is basically whatever the font size of your web page or element, it will be proportion to that. Like if I say 2 EM, so suppose the default font size is 10 pixel, the 2 EM becomes 2 into 10, 20 pixel. Okay, so let's see, if I have 40 pixel, then 2.5 em becomes 2.5 becomes okay. So if I have 16 pixel, actually the font size, then 2.5 em makes it 40 pixel. If I have 16 pixel, by default 1.85 em makes it 30. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay. Font Google. Now Google uses their own font styles, and to use any Google font, we can link it to our HTML page using link rel style set, and href we need to put this font family URL. So the fonts, Google API.com, CSS, which font you want to use? You want to use Sophia, something like that. So this will be the output. Okay, like that. You can use other fonts. This font. Now font pairings. Okay, Now font pairing, basically whatever the font you will apply to a particular element, it will be applied to that particular element. For example, if you apply a common font to body, but if you put in H1 another font, the another font will take overtake the general font. So this way how font pairing works. Now, and the font property, if you shorthand the font property, you can come up with font. It should be italic, small caps, bold, 12 pixel, line height 30, and the font family Georgia. Okay, so this is the shorthand for fonts. Next one is icons. You have seen so many icons uh, in web pages. Now to use those icons, we can use font awesome. And to use font awesomes in your web page, we just need to put this line. Okay, so this is basically CTN for font awesome. Now this JS JavaScript file will be added, and then you can use some HTML tag like I class FAS font awesome. Classes are there, and FA cloud. So this will create a cloud here. If you can see, if you want a heart will be created. A car, like that. So basically, to use icons, always use font awesome. I would recommend. CSS links. Links means the clickable A tag links. So using CSS, how it's a normal link, it's a text link. Now they see the hover effect is there, and the links are getting better. Okay, so let's see. Basically, there are four states of any link. So it is like um, first one is called link, second one is visited, third one is over, and fourth one is active. Okay, so link normal will behave in a normal way. Now visited means when if you have already clicked that link and you come again to that page, whatever you want to show, the color or background, you can put it in visited state. Hover means whenever you put your mouse over there, that link. And active means when you are just clicking at the moment. So if you see here, I have they have given the link color to be red, but if it's visited, it should be green. If it's hover, hot pink, and if it's clicking, it should be blue. So see, so green, hover is what? Hot pink. Click, at the time of click, it should be blue. Okay, and visited, it becomes green. Okay, so this is how it works. Text decoration, I guess already I had explained. It should be underline or none. CSS list. Using CSS, you can style the list also. If you see here, ULA, all the links inside the UL tag should be of circle type, and or any UL with the class A, like UL. There is a UL under unordered list with a class A. In that list, all the list styles should be of circle. Let's see. So this is a circle. The second one is a square. The third one is upper Roman, and fourth one is lower alpha. So this is how we styles in the list using CSS. Okay, the tables, we can create pretty very nice tables using CSS also. We can use border property. Border, it should be 1 pixels, it should be solid, it should be black. So this becomes your full width border. To make a table 100% width, we can use width 100% like this. And suppose we have this double border. If you want to collapse those two borders, then we can use border collapse property. Okay, so border collapse should be collapse. This is very important. And if you don't want a border inside, you can just put table border 1 pixel. Table size could be given in either in percentage or in pixels. Okay, so we can put the width to be 100% and the th, the table header, to be 70 pixel of height. Table alignment is there. whether we want the table text to be on center or left or right. So here we have given the alignment to be center, if you see here. So go try it, check it out. It's very pretty simple. And I hope now after watching this video, if you go and watch this these examples, do it, it will be very easy for you guys to understand. Now we have table style. We have different table style, like we can give the padding, we can make it left, right, like that. So this is horizontal divider style. Now to add this style, this is again a table, but it's very pretty, right? So what we are doing here for the th and td tags, we just want the border bottom, right? We don't want the top borders, so we are just giving border bottom. So this is how the table becomes. So look wise, it's very pretty beautiful, right? And the next one is over property. If you want to make it very a little attractive, interactive, you can give for the tr over, background color should be yellow. So whenever you over to the any tr, the background color changes to yellow. So this is again clear. Responsive table. For responsive tables, there are multiple options actually. um, so here, what they wanted to try, a responsive table will display a horizontal scroll bar if the screen is too small or to display. So what here what they are saying, if suppose you have a screen where you are checking your web page, and you have a table inside that. So if the size is small, then what will happen? The table should also the table should also be displayed, and there should be a scroll bar coming up at the bottom. So let's see, if you see here, the scroll bar came up when I decreased the size of this screen. Okay, so this is what responsive table means. Okay, so for that, what you have to use, overflow x auto. So whenever there is a less space, there should be a scroll bar coming up. Next one is CSS layout. Um, so basically it shows a property display, whether you want to display a property, or if you do not want to display a property, or if you want to display as a block level element, or if you want to display as an inline element. So block level elements have spaces on top and bottom. So this is block level element. For inline will come like a span tag, that's an inline element. It will come inside that paragraph on the same line. Display none is there. If you don't want that element to be displayed, you can use display none. And yeah, so if you want to override also any property, you can put it using css style. Okay, so this is what, like the display property. Max width I had already covered. You can have a max width, and again we can have max height also. Go through this example, it will be clear. CSS layout position property. Now position properties are very very important in terms of interview, in terms of understanding the page architecture. Okay, so we have different position values. It could be static position, relative position, fixed, absolute, sticky. Okay, and by default, if you see, the HTML elements are static. But if you want to make it fixed, like if you want some element to be fixed on the on the top right, on the or the bottom or the bottom left, you can use you know you can use absolute fixed property also. Okay, so let's see, the in the position relative, it will be like a normal position relative to the flow of your web page. Okay, so you will not see any difference. Position fixed, in position fixed, you are saying position this element at a particular position, fix it, just fix it. So for that, you can, if you use position fixed, now how you are positioning it to be fixed, you want bottom, from bottom it should be 0, from right it should be 0. Okay, let's try it out. See, this div element has if I think you might not be seeing it. So okay, so this element has fixed position, position fixed. right? So it is coming on the bottom 0, right 0. From bottom and right it is coming. Okay, so let's close this also. We have another property, z index. Z index is basically the a stack order. Okay, one by one by one by one. So suppose there is some element, suppose this is an image here, if you can see here, and you want some text to be upper side or over that image, you can use z index property. So let's see how it works. Position absolute left top, this z index is -1. So if I give z index -1, it will go inside, it will go one layer inside, and the p tag will come up, the heading will be shown, and the image will be shown, but the image is going inside. If I remove this z index -1, see, the image will come up above the text. Okay, so this is how it works. Very important. Try it out. Okay, so do these examples yourself and try. It should be clear. CSS overflow is like, suppose you have a div, and you have lots of text, and the area you have given is like 100 pixel height, 100 pixel width. Then what will happen when the text is more? Automatically you want some scroll bars to be there. For that we have overflow property. Okay, so whether you want to show, whether you want not to show, if you want to show, whether you want scroll bars or not scroll bars. So this is how it works. So overflow visible will be like, you can see the content. In overflow hidden, you will not see the extra content. Overflow scroll will cover all the contents. And overflow auto, it automatically decides, the browser decides whether I need to put the scroll bar on the x-axis or y-axis. So this is how scroll overflow works. Okay, this is very important. What is the difference between overflow x and y? So x and y basically deals with the left and right, and the next property is CSS float. Now float is again very important. If you have an element that you want it to be on left or right, you can use a property float. Float it to left, float it to right. Okay. So if you see here, this is float right. Now the text, the image is on right side, and if you use the default one, float left, it will be on left side. Try it out on the website. Next one is clear. Now suppose you have used so many floats, float left, float right, and you for an element you want to remove any float left or right property, you can use clear float. I mean clear property, float clear. Okay, so if you put clear, okay, so if you have used float left, then you can clear it by using clear left, so it will clear the left float. If you want the both left and right to be cleared, you can use clear both. Yeah, and overflow auto, that I already told you. Okay, and okay, so if you see here, we have after, this is this two columns, and after, this is basically called like pseudo element, that we will cover later on. Okay, fine. Float example. Now using float, you can create the complete web page structure. Also left side what you want to display, right side what you want to display, on the bottom what you want to display. So see, if you see here, we have created 5 boxes using the float only. Okay, so this is what this is all about, the float. Box sizing, we will discuss now. Okay, so this is like the CSS layout float examples. We will go to the next one, that's CSS layout display inline-block. Now, if we have an element that we are just displaying, we can use display inline. for span a tag, we can use inline block. Now suppose we in inline also, inline, I mean for in the same line, we want to put some element as a block level element, then we can use inline block. So this is basically used mostly for the creating the links. Let's try it out. If you see here, this is inline will be coming as 1 2, but if you want a block element, see, this becomes a block but it is still in inline, so it's called display inline block, and block will be 1 2 like this. I hope this is clear. Okay. CSS Align, again, simple. You can give the margin to auto, width, height, padding and all. So to make something in center, you can use margin auto, and like this. So this will become, this will come inside center. So just give margin auto, how much width you want. If you want 100, then whatever you put, that will come again in the center. Okay. So this is how it works. uh, Next one, center an image. You can center an image by displaying block, margin left auto, margin right auto, width 40%, again the same thing. Now this becomes into the center. CSS combinators. Now CSS combinators are basically used for some child selectors or siblings. Like we have one div tag, inside that div tag we have two p tags. Those two p tags becomes siblings. So for them to select those things, uh, to select that way, we can use CSS combinators. Okay, so let's see some example. Let's see this sibling example. If you see here, we have p tag, and this is p tag again. Now this div has two p tags. Now okay, so if we talk about paragraph 3 after a div, this one. Okay, and div plus p. Now after div, if there is a p, then change the background color to yellow. So after this div, we have a tag p, paragraph 3, that becomes yellow, and same way paragraph 7, that becomes yellow. I hope this is clear. Pretty much simple. Yeah, so this way, try out some of the other sibling selectors also. This is very simple. Go through it. Understood? If it doesn't, ask me in comments. Yeah. Then we have a pseudo class. Pseudo classes are very important. If you see here, mouse over me, this is changing, right? The div color is changing. Click me to get focus. Okay, when you click it, see, it gives some focus. So basically, how is the syntax of the pseudo classes? You need to first use the selector and then the pseudo class. Okay, so let's see an example. We will use pseudo class for a tag, and as I already told you, like we have link, visited, over, and active. Okay, so these are what? These are the pseudo classes for a tag. You can go ahead and check out and there are a couple of other pseudo classes like first child. You want to select only the first child, like you have lots of p tags, you want to select only the first child, like here. Okay, give it a try. First child, color blue. Okay, so wherever there is a first child, like this p tag is a child of body, but this p tag is a child of this div, so both of these are blue. I hope that's clear. Pseudo classes, then we have pseudo elements also. Like for the p, we have a p tag, and inside the p tag we have first line. Inside that p tag also, whatever is the first line that comes, that should become red. See, so if you put everything on one line, everything will become red. So that's called pseudo element. Okay, go ahead and check out others, and they are very much pretty much similar to them. Okay, so next one very important is opacity, that you are going to use for transparency. of images. Like see, this is an image which has opacity of 1. If you want to decrease the opacity, you can decrease it to 0.5, zero point 0.2. Now see, this is 0.2, 0.5 and 1. To use it, we have a property called opacity. Very simple. Try, use it, let me know. And see, the using this opacity, we can create a lovely effect like this. When you are moving over this becomes opacity becomes 1. Okay, so the by default opacity is 5. When you move over it, the opacity becomes 1. Okay, so this is how small properties can give you a very better results, right? Okay, next one is CSS navbar. Using CSS, you can create a navbar like this. Okay, like this. So for navigation bars, always use UL tags. Okay, inside UL tag you can have list, and in that list you can have different links. Now for the CSS, just give list style type none, so there would be no style associated with the list of this unordered list, and then the margin and padding set it to 0. And then let's see an example. So this is one. So there is no list, I mean style associated with this. So only thing is the margin padding is 0 and the list style is none. Okay, next, let's see. Now here things are changing. Now what we have done, we have used a tag, and we made a tag display block. So it will take one block, one line, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so it's taking one line. Okay, so display block, but the width is 60 pixel, and the background color is like this, the gray. So this is that example. Now moving to next, if I want to make something like this, we have to use list style none, margin padding 0 0, background color this, fine. Then we have padding display block like this. And now if we over it, the background color should change, and the color should also change to white. See, so this is how the link works. And to make it on the same line or like that, let's see some horizontal style. If we put it, make it display inline, now see, it will be inline. Okay, and if we put the same background and other properties, you can see we have given everything, float left, and now display block. And see, using a basic CSS, we can create a nav bar. Let me explain again. We have these links. We have a tag class active. In active, we can change something, like we can change the color, and we are using a display block. Okay, and and the li float left. So float left makes it float to the left side from left to right, and a tag is basically display block. And then we have some a tags. So this way we can create an a over the colors are changing. So I hope this is clear. We can again create a drop down. uh, just it's a very simple way. Whenever we mouse over it, we are just showing another div. Okay, see here, we have one drop down. When we over it, it should be display should be blocked. So it should block means it should be displayed, and by default the display is none. So by default it's none. When I move over it, display becomes block, so it is displayed. Okay, image gallery also you can create using CSS. This is one example. Go through this example. We have div, lot of divs. Gallery is that we have one div with the gallery class. Inside that we have a tag. Inside that we have image, and after that we have description. See, like this. Okay, so one div, one div, one div, one div. Multiple divs are there. So try it out. It's very simple. Image sprites are again very important for your interview purpose also. So what happens basically, normally when you request your website from server, it returns you lots of images. Now Suppose you have 100 images. 100 images will take some time to load, but you want to make your page load faster. In that case, what you can use this technique called image sprites. Using image sprite, you can call one big image inside your browser, and that whole image, okay, that whole image you can use separately for your as per your wish, as per your need. Like suppose you have India map. Okay, now if you want to use, for example, Delhi's map, you can create image sprites, divide it into multiple chunks, and use CSS to call that particular Delhi map from the India map. Okay, so let's see some example. If you see here, we have one image only. This is called okay. So this image, this is the image, right? But now this is the whole image, one image. But if you see here, we are using twice the same image. We are calling twice, but we are calling using ID selector. So with the home, we are using these properties, and with the next, we are calling these properties. Now what how it is working, we are telling boss we want to use this background, but from 0 0 position, 0 0 positions started, and I want just width to be 46 and height to be 44. And the next says, hey, I want to use it, but from 91 pixel from the right and 0 pixel from the left, from the top, and the width and height should be 43 and 44. So these becomes two images. Okay, see, so both of them are picking from the same image. The image name is image sprites. Okay, next one is attr attribute. Using attr attribute, we can select elements at with a specified attribute. For example, if I want to select only a tags which have the property target attribute target set to blank, then we can use a select only those a tags which have target blank. Okay. uh, Again, the next one, with this one, it says select this select element with an attribute value containing a specified word. So if it contains anything related to value, it will display. Like here, the title, if title displays flower, it should be it should have some border, like see. So the if the title I put flower, it will give yellow. And okay, flower title. And here also we have flower. If I change it to something else and run it, it will not take this property. Okay, so this is how it works. Attribute selector. Next one is form. Now forms are, you have already done forms in HTML. You can make a form, you can style a form element using like suppose you want input all the inputs to be 100% width. So if you put it everything, you put like in any number of text boxes, and if you put it, so every text box will have 100% of width. Okay. Next one is counters. Counters are basically very used rarely, but yeah, counters are basically used to set the counter in a web page, and the CSS remembers it. Like suppose you want to create some let me show you example. You want to create some table of content like this, section 1, 1.1, 1.2, like this. So you can either put it in 1.1 yourself only, or you can use a counter. So here if you see in body, we have set the counter reset section, and counter reset subsection. So we have section 1, section subsection 1.1, 1.2, like that. And in h1, before h1, so before h1 tag, use this section, and the content should be section 1, section 2, like this. So if you see here, section comes here, counter is 1, and then the section content section whatever is like HTML CSS tutorial. And before h2, now if you use h2 in your web page, before h2, it should display subsection, and again it will show counter first. Okay, 1 point counter subsection 1.1, like that. So if you see here, we have one h1 tag here, one h1 here, one h1 here. So all will have this section 1, section 2, section 3. Now if you see 1, 2, 3 are automatically taken by the counter, and before h2, like when h2 starts here, html css bootstrap, it's already taking the section and subsection. So 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, like that. So not much used, but yeah, you can use this if you have something, you need to create something like this. Website layout. Now website layout is basically very important to you guys. Like you have a website, it has some specific parts, like you have header, you will have footer, you will have navigation menu, content on the left side, main content on the center, and right side you can also have some contents. So this is one typical website layout. Now the whole website layout can be structured using CSS. So see here, header CSS is being designed. Then you can have navigation bar. For navigation bar, you can have it. For content, you can create 3 column, 1 column, or 2 column content. For the column, you can create float. You can use float left width 33%. So if you use column class, it will divide it into 33%. Okay, so try it out and let me know if you have any issues inside. CSS units are very important. We can give the units as pixels, or the CSS basically are they are the lengths. We can use margin, padding, font sizes. They have different units. Now those units are basically centimeters, millimeters, inches, pixel, like that. So basically mostly the pixels are being used on the devices, mostly on our screens where we design the web pages. There are some relative lengths or relative units also, like em is basically mostly used. Em, again, I told you just sometimes back that if the font size is 10 pixel, 2 em becomes 20 pixel, right? So these are the relative lengths for different units. Okay, em, ex, blah blah blah. So you can go ahead, go out and check it out from this website. They are very simple. Now I hope you can easily understand. Next one is CSS specificity. What it says, like suppose you have different styles given. So which one will take supersede the other one? For example, I want the whole in my whole website the font to be of the same Vardhana. So what I will do, I will use just a star selector. So for by giving a star selector, I will give the font family Vardhana to all the elements. But inside that page, for a specific H1 or H1 tag, H2 tag, I want the font family to be Arial. Then what I will do, I will put H1 bracket font family Arial. Now this will overtake the star selector. Okay. Second thing is like see here is an example. You have an H1 tag. You have a has content. Has is the ID content, and H1. So what it will take? It will whether it will take the H1 value or the ID property. So it will automatically take the ID one, because ID has more value. So if you start with 0, if you see here, the IDs are the mostly they have more weightage over the classes. IDs have more weightage over the classes, and the elements also. Okay. So if you see here for A, it is one element. The specificity of B is 101 because it uses a ID. So ID is a specificity is 100, and H1 tag has 1, so 101. So and for C, if you see div ID content H1 style this. So this has 1000 specificity because we are using div. Inside div we are using h1. Okay, so let's see with one more example. Suppose we have given background color to yellow and background color to red. So at first it was yellow, but we over load it with we change it with the red. So whatever comes on the later part, it will with taking white. Like if I say green, it will take green. Okay. Next one is important. Important is very important to CSS. Now this is a basically a rule in CSS. Like wherever you have used any class or anything, suppose you have a class where, by which you have changed the color of an element to red. Now for any regions, for a particular page or anywhere, if you want to override that CSS property, you want color to be blue, you can use this has yeah, this important exclamation mark and important. Now how you use it? You just change it, the key value pair, the property background color should be red, and this is important. Now even if you have used it earlier in any p tag, it will override, let's say. Okay, so if you see p tag, there are three p tags. This p tag doesn't have any class. This p tag has a class, and this p tag have a id. But we have overridden everything by saying important. Now the background color should be red, irrespective of whatever is there, whether it's a class or id. Okay. And the math function, you can use a math function, make a minimum, maximum. Like for example, if you want let's if you want to use one of the many, like width should be calculated based on, like, let's say the width is calculated based on 100% minus 100 pixel. So suppose whatever is the 100%, just minus this 100 pixel out of that. So you can use calculate 100% minus just 100 pixels. So whatever is the width, depending on the browser width, it will take 100% minus 100 pixels. So this is how some of the calculations work. You can use some math functions over there. Min, max is there, and min is there, like that. So I think I am pretty much done with this CSS basics tutorial part 1. If you like this video, um, like the video, share it with your friends, and definitely if you subscribe, it will boost my confidence to make another videos for you. The next video will be the advanced CSS. Let me know in comments how you like this video, and thank you very much, guys. For today, it's done for today, and we will meet very soon on the next video. Thank you very much.